Hollow Knight Silksong is out in just 3 days, and I just completed my playthrough of the original Hollow Knight here in 2025, which is pretty wild. But yes, it took me this long to finally try this game out. I give you guys my full opinions in a video I posted the other day, so feel free to go check that out if you haven't yet. But at the end of the day, I ended up really liking this game. But at the same time, as someone who just went into this game blindly with really no help or any type of guidance or tips from anybody else, I thought it'd be a perfect video for me to make, considering the fact that I just beat this game and technically I'm a newcomer. So I know pretty much exactly what to tell you guys to expect and what to look out for, and kind of some tips and tricks and general knowledge of your first time playing. Now, I know a lot of people are playing Hollow Knight for the first time. In fact, just about a week ago, we've seen a massive resurgence of Hollow Knight players on Steam, which is pretty crazy. Like, everyone's jumping in to play this game before Silksong, and obviously for good reason, because it's a really good game and a lot of people are just now finding out about it. So whether you're watching this video to learn what to expect for the first game, maybe you're about to jump in, or maybe you're about to just jump into Silksong as your first game. So I don't know much about Silksong. I mean, I don't think anyone does until the game officially comes out. We're kind of, you know, a little bit in the dark with this game. But for now, what I'm going to do is pretty much just tell you what you could probably expect for that sequel and what you could expect for the first game if you're jumping in now. So the first thing I want to tell you guys is please give this game a try for more than just a couple hours, because I was in the same way a lot of you guys are. I've read a lot of the comments from the first Hollow Knight video I posted a couple days ago, and you guys were in pretty much the same boat where you just wanted to quit. You got to a point where you just got too lost and didn't know what was going on and quit. And I see a lot of, you know, Hollow Knight enthusiast fans of the game in the comments as well saying, how do you get lost in a game like this? It's so simple. But I think the problem is you don't really know everything you're supposed to do in order to find your location. So what I will say right now is this game has a different take on its map system. For a lot of us, we played Metroid games, and for me, that was the same way. I grew up with, you know, only 2D Metroid games as my only Metroidvanias. So those map designs are very, very different. You pretty much just fill out the map as you go, and you can always see where you are on that map. Where this game is not the case. You have to unlock and find pieces of your map, very similar to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, where you're kind of unlocking it as you're progressing. And what you'll have to do is find a little map salesman guy that's scattered around in each area. His name is Cornifer, and probably one of the most important characters for your entire adventure, because he is the one that's single-handedly going to have you knowing where you're traversing and where you're going. Look for the pieces of paper that are on the ground in a new area. You'll want to follow the trail of paper until you can actually find where Cornifer is. Make sure you're fighting lots of enemies and saving lots of geo, which is the currency in this game, because you're going to want to buy every single map that you come across. Something else I really wish I took advantage of and knew about was the charms in this game, because the first couple hours I really didn't care about them or really know what they did or how they worked and what type of charms there were or where to even buy them. But thankfully I found that you could actually buy a compass charm, which shows you where you are on the map, because yes, that blew my mind. You don't get to see where you are on the map without this thing. It's just a picture of the map, and you have to kind of piece together the world and kind of position to where you think you are in that map. This is a vital thing to have, and once again, I wish I would have known that earlier on. It would have made my traversal a lot easier, because trust me, you will get lost trying to figure out where you are according to the map and stuff, because I did. I just could not figure out exactly what room I was in and stuff, and had to use context clues, which is cool in a way, but still, the compass is important. Something else is important is the stagway stations, which is the way to kind of fast travel to each world in this game. If you come across any station, like I said, I don't really know if Silksong is going to have Cornifer or a wayward compass. It might be very similar things, but look for them. Look for stations where you can actually fast travel to other worlds and pay in order to have that stag beetle or whoever it is this time around come up, because you need these locations. I got around almost halfway through the game and I only had like 2 stag locations opened up, which meant I had to literally like walk around and traverse every single world by foot, and it is a hassle. So once again, make sure you have lots of geo on you and pay attention to the signs that are scattered throughout the world. That's another big issue of mine, is I didn't know what the signs were telling me. I'd see signs of pictures of characters and stuff, and sometimes it'd tell you when you were getting close to a new world, but a lot of the times it would show you when you were near a healing bench. Yes, it's a bench in this game that allows you to heal, put on charms, and also save your game. But also, if you already have the map and you're exploring throughout new areas of that map, it won't fill out until you sit down on the bench. So you have to go to the new areas and then sit down on the bench, and it will fill those areas out. So it's a different take on the map for sure. And I think the map and the world itself is the one thing that drives players away a little too too early. Like I said, I was actually thinking about quitting. I just could not figure out where I was without that compass and without understanding the stagway stations, the bench, and like how it filled out your map. But having that knowledge definitely makes things a lot easier. I wish I had that knowledge in the beginning as well, because nothing really truly explains the game all that much. There are some guides and tutorials, but they're not that deep. It's kind of leaving it up to the player to figure out how things work in this game. I also recommend just going to the stores a lot to buy a bunch of different things. For instance, you can even buy pins for your map, so you can place pins on certain things so that way you can remember to return to them or something like that. It's always very useful. Yes, you heard me right. You literally have to buy pins in order to place them on your map. So you're literally constructing this map from the ground up. So make sure you buy everything you need and do everything you need in order to fill that map out correctly, so that way you always know your positioning. Another huge thing is to make sure you are always fully exploring. If you feel like you're going off in the wrong direction or feel like you're not quite sure where you are and if you're even going in the right place in the beginning, do not worry, because eventually the game will cut you off if you're not supposed to be in an area where you're not supposed to be in, you know what I mean? Let me put it like this in Metroid standards, if you guys are Metroid fans watching this. Imagine when you're going throughout the world in Prime or any of the 2D Metroid games and there's a green or a purple or yellow door. You know you can't go through those doors yet because you need a certain beam or a missile in order to bust that door down. Well, it's the same situation here. There'll be very specific things that block your progress, and you'll need to come back to them later. These are good places just to at least know and have in your mind, so that way when you unlock your new ability, you can say, aha, I have to go back to Crystal Peak, or I have to go back to Green Path, you know, and you can actually remember them. By those pins, they can help you track where you're supposed to go, or the specific areas that you've already visited that you had to backtrack again. But just please explore, because you will be rewarded for it. Check every nook, every corner, every cranny, you know, in every single room, because there's so many collectibles that's hidden, and some of these are very, very valuable collectibles that will help your health, your soul gauge, which is how you heal and use all your specials, and even areas filled with Geo, which you're going to want to hold a lot of Geo. There's so many things to buy and upgrade in this game. You're going to be spending a lot of money, but also be wary, because your money isn't always guaranteed to stay with you, because if you die, the soul of your body will be floating in the area that you died, along with your Geo. So you have to hurry up and make yourself back to that area and destroy your soul in a way in order to get the Geo back. So I recommend that you find lots of benches very often and use them whenever you can, because you will respawn to the last bench that you rested on. So make sure you beeline straight back to where you died in order to recover your soul and your lost Geo. Something else that I'll warn is that this game gets very hard, and it looks like Silksong adds a ton of new moves, so yeah, it's going to get even crazier. Yes, this game is known for its boss battles and extreme combat, but it's also known for its extremely difficult 2D platforming. In fact, there's a whole area at the end of the first game that literally puts you in a Super Meat Boy-like challenge room. So you need to get the mechanics down for sure, because by this time in the game, it's going to really put your skills to the test. But back to the combat, do not get frustrated, because you are going to get beat up by some of these enemies, characters, and bosses. But it's very Metroid-like, once again, is once you learn the enemy patterns or the boss patterns, you can become an absolute legend with that nail. Yes, they're called nails in this game, not swords. The whole point of this game is about getting the rhythm down, knowing when to dash out the way, when to attack, when to be offensive or defensive, and also how to use that nail in the best ways possible. For instance, knowing when to pogo and how to pogo is very important, and pogoing is pretty much just jumping up and swinging down with your nail, which will cause you to continuously bounce. To heal in this game, it uses your soul meter, where you literally had to just stand still while holding the A button. Now, the reason why this is so difficult is because you're standing still in the middle of a boss fight, so you need to know and learn the pattern of the boss to know when it's the best time to heal. Some bosses have a stun phase, where most of them actually do, where if you hit them enough, they'll eventually get stunned for a couple of seconds, allowing you to get at least 2 heals off, sometimes even 3, depending on if you have a charm that lets you heal faster, maybe even more. The charms that work for me the best in the game is anything that lets you swing your nail faster or give it longer range, anything that gave me more damage output, or maybe even faster healing was always something that was worth equipping. I don't think the charms are all that great at all. I think there's just about a handful that you're going to switch in and out between, at least with the first game so far. But yeah, definitely make sure you experiment with your charms and just learn the combat. You know, trial and error is what this game is about. You're going to die, you're going to lose, just get ready for it. Don't get upset. Don't get discouraged, especially if it's a boss that's not in your immediate path that you need in order to complete your progress. Come back to it later. You don't need to beat it right away. Before I give the last tip, I do want to go back once again though and talk about exploration. It's really good to explore, talk to everybody, and buy lots of things because that's how this game shares its lore and its story. There's not a lot of cutscenes or dialogue moments that progress the story, so you're kind of figuring out the story for yourself as you're collecting and exploring. So make sure you're buying things, exploring the terrain really well, and talking to a lot of the characters in order to learn that story for yourself. The last tip I have for you is turn your volume up. Literally, that's literally very important in this game. Not just because the game has some beautiful ambient music that you can listen to in each area, but also considering the fact that there's a lot of little visual and audio cues that you have to pay attention to. There's some enemies that make a specific noise, and you might be in a very dark room where a lot of this game is filled with dark rooms. There's also certain collectibles that you can get, like grubs in the first game, that make a very specific noise when you enter a new room. So having that volume up and hearing that is very important. I mean, I'd honestly recommend headphones, especially if you're playing on the Switch. But yeah, that's about all the tips and tricks that I could think about that really would have helped me my first time, so I'm hoping that I could help some of you guys. Please give the game a try longer than just the first couple of hours, because I had the same feeling. I was really feeling just about this game. I didn't feel like continuing. It was just too confusing to me. But once you get past that certain part and start learning the flow of the game and start understanding everything, it'll all click for you, because I literally had a aha moment where everything clicked perfectly and I knew exactly what I was supposed to do, where I was supposed to go, and how I was supposed to finish this game. So please give this game a surefire try, and I am sure you guys will enjoy it. Don't get frustrated, don't get mad. You'll beat those bosses. Just keep working at it. So if you guys are excited for Silksong coming out in a couple of days, and if this video helped you at all, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things not Nintendo today. We're talking about Hollow Knight, so I guess I am going to cover lots of Silksong stuff because I really love this game. I'm about 96% completed now. I know there's like over 100% you guys told me, so thanks to the DLC. I'm on the last Pantheon, which sucks, and I have a couple more things to collect, but besides that, I'm almost close to that full completion. But thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you all have a blessed day, and I'll see you all on the next one. See ya, guys.